going on, everyone? Welcome back to Rule of Two. So happy that you guys could join us. What up, Mark?
What's up, Theory? I almost called you your real name there. Everybody almost got two big announcements today.
No, that announcement will probably come when Vader Episode 2 happens, because then I'll have my fat name under director
What,
and writer and all that.
like written and directed by?
Yeah, probably.
Good.
Yeah.
I support
Good,
that.
my young apprentice.
I support that.
So we got some cool news today, guys. Um, Bad Batch is going to get their own show in 2021. I've got the write up here in front of me from StarWars.com, and then we can talk about everywhere that we think it's going to go. Mark, should I just go into it?
Yeah, go into it. Go
All
into it.
right, StarWars.com. Star Wars: The Bad Batch, an all-new animated series to debut on Disney Plus in 2021. Clone Force 99 from Star Wars: The Clone Wars returns. Today, Disney Plus ordered its next animated series from Lucasfilm, Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Fresh off of the critically acclaimed series finale of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the Disney Plus original series will premiere on the streaming service in 2021. The series follows the elite and experimental clones of the Bad Batch, first introduced in the Clone Wars, as they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone War. Members of Bad Batch, a unique squad of clones who vary genetically from their brothers in the clone army, each possess a singular exceptional skill, which makes them extraordinarily effective soldiers and a formidable crew. In the post Clone War era, they will take on daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. Giving new and existing fans the final chapter of Star Wars: The Clone Wars has been our honor at Disney Plus, and we are overjoyed by the global response to this landmark series, said Agnes Chu, Senior Vice President, Content Disney Plus. While The Clone Wars may have come to its conclusion, our partnership with the groundbreaking storytellers and artists at Lucasfilm Animation is only beginning. This is only the beginning. We are thrilled to Count Dooku. We are thrilled to bring Dave Filoni's vision to life through the next adventures of the Bad Batch. Okay, so that's good. So he's going to be on board, obviously. Star Wars: The
Yeah.
Bad Batch is executive produced by Dave Filoni, The Mandalorian, Star Wars: Clone Wars, Athena Portillo, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, Brad Rao, Rebels, Resistance, and Jennifer Corbett, Star Wars Resistance and CIS, with Carrie Beck, The Mandalorian, and Rebels as co-executive producer, and Josh Rhimes as producer, who was on Star Wars Resistance. Rao is also serving as supervising director, with Corbett as head writer. Okay, so this looks cool to me. Um, I guess this is going to take place after Order 66, where they're trying to find purpose and what they're going to do. Um, the Republic smashed. It's now the Empire. And I really want to see what happened to them during Order 66. So did they not have their chips put in? I made a theory video about it, but what do you think?
Um, Man, I have a lot of thoughts about this actually, man. I woke up to an email from Disney. Usually because Collider is a big part of the press, we get
Right.
those release emails, and when I woke up to, I sent it to you right away.
Yeah.
I got it like around something like 7 a.m. or something. I sent it over to you.
Right.
So overall, I'm extremely excited about it. Okay, I have a lot of questions about it
Yeah.
because for me, the Bad Batch was a cool arc, but it was still. I felt myself saying, "Okay, when's the next Anakin scene coming?"
Right.
You know,
Right.
I I think that Hunter is an interesting character, the leader, the one with the hair. You call him
He's like
Rambo, which I
Rambo.
think,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I think the Rambo character is interesting, but you have to really develop him. You got Rekka, you got Crosshair, you got Scout, and
Tech.
I
We
think
got Tech.
Tech.
Yeah, Tech. Yeah, and then now we got Echo in there too.
Yeah, and Echo's part of the mix. So that's great, man. But like, what I'm looking forward to is the last scene in the Clone Wars might have been my favorite scene in television and like since Breaking Bad's like
with
finale.
with Vader.
Yeah, with Vader. So I think if Dave Filoni can tap into those moments, like for example, how did were they in Kashyyyk with Luminara?
Yeah.
Um, Maybe that Jedi who became a traitor. I forget her name. The one that betrayed Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Yeah.
What was her name? Do you remember?
It wasn't Luminara. It was Chad, help me out here. What was her name again? It's on the tip of my tongue.
But like my point is like if we start getting some threads that start to focus in on some of those characters, um, and and Vader, like you and I were talking offline, like how much Vader is going to be into it.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that like I've seen this rumor online that this is Scar Squadron, right? That these folks somehow end up evolving to working with Vader because they realize that Anakin and Vader are the same person.
Barris
Is there
Offee,
any
that was it. Yeah.
Barris Offee, right? Like, is there any
What I find
change there?
interesting,
So
what I find interesting is that was it? I think it was Hunter that he could feel the electromagnetic field or
yeah,
something on any. So Vader is all magnetic. He's all electric now. So he's a cyborg. So is this going to play into the fact that maybe they're going to try to hunt Vader?
maybe. It's like, look, they all have their own little superpower, right? Like
Yeah.
Rekka was like strong, and
Yeah, he's like the
Crossfire,
Hulk. Yeah.
yeah, Crossfire had great aim, and
They're like
Tech
Marvel
was like,
characters, dude.
yeah, they're like Marvel characters a little bit. But like, I'll be honest with you, I liked the first four episodes. I didn't love them,
Yeah.
but somebody in the chat I think brought up something really interesting that I saw scroll up, which is if they keep going with that animation style that the Clone Wars finished off with, and they don't try to reinvent the animation style like they did for Rebels or like they did for Resistance,
Yeah.
and they just follow that Clone Wars thread, this is going to be such an awesome show to watch
Yeah.
because I mean the Clone Wars, the last season looked incredible.
It did. Yeah. It's some of
Like
the best
like
animation I've ever seen.
it's some of the best animation I've ever seen. It looks so cinematic,
Hmm.
and like the graphics and the CGI have just gotten so good, and the animations have gotten so good. And and look, one thing that I know Dave Filoni does really well is develop the clones. Him and George were able to take these group of people that are all genetically the same and give them all different attitudes, different vibes, the tattoos, the hair,
Yeah.
and so I'm excited to see what they do with it, but I'm most excited about the animation style and which of the other characters they bring into it because Dave Filoni, God bless his heart, is not going to be able to do an entire show with no force powers, with no Jedi, with no Big Mac.
Right. I agree. And that's why you didn't like the Cassian Andor spin-off or whatever because you're like, what the hell is this? I agree.
Yeah.
Star Wars is the Force, and I think as Dave Filoni said, it's like it's not about ships, it's not about this and that. It's really about what we know Star Wars is, which is, I think, the Force. And if you incorporate that into a lot of the story with the ships and the machines and all this stuff, then it's really Star Wars, and the space battles and all that. But I think by itself, yeah, it might be a little bit difficult. It might be kind of dry.
Do you think that they removed the Order 66 chips, or do you think that that's going to be a storyline as the show kind of starts? Like that's going to be the big, like the first big plot point is that the chips do get activated, they do go into like hunt Jedi mode, and then somehow Rex gets in the mix and tells them about it, takes the chips off. Do you think they'll have the chips or not have the chips?
I think they took Echoes out. I think with all the stuff they did to him, or maybe like with the explosion, it fried his chip, something like that. So I think he's okay, or he'll have the ability to override it somehow with his technological advancements, his cybernetics. And then there's three options I think with how the clones, with how the Bad Batch, Clone Force 99, didn't execute Order 66. So either they had the chips in there and they're just such a unique personality that they overrid it with their own might. Two, they took it out themselves. Or three, it was never planted in the first place because
Mm.
Camino saw that these guys were defective and they're like, okay, well, whatever, we'll just train them and let them live their life, I guess. But we're not going to waste these chips on them because they're just too unpredictable.
I kind of think that also, right?
Yeah.
Because the Bad Batch lore, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that these were specially enhanced clones that were intended to make a sort of special forces group,
Yeah.
and they're called like Clone Group
It was from
99 or
Legend. Yeah, now, yeah, Clone Force 99 is what they're called here.
right, Clone Force 99. So maybe to your point, they were like already getting enhanced with these like special powers or whatever
Yeah.
that they didn't put those chips into them.
Yeah.
That's what I think also, but I also do think it would make a great first episode, like story arc, if they do have them in there and they have to get them removed. And what happens with that? I think that could be pretty interesting.
It'd be pretty
You know,
interesting. Yeah.
one other thing that connects um, to the Scar Squadron is that they're called Scar Squadron 99 or something like that.
Hmm.
And like if you look at that comic book where they join up with Vader, they look very similar to
Yeah. So
the.
it's the inspiration is probably taken from that, I would guess.
But you don't think they're connected?
I don't know. They switch so much stuff up on us. Like Legends is not real, but then they use so much from Legends, and it's like, and then they like
Right.
spin stuff around. It's like, hey, well, what do you? I don't know.
Because
What are you doing here?
like I guess what I'm driving at, my favorite part of the Bad Batch was how Anakin interacted with them.
Right.
Like those first four episodes I thought were really cool. When Anakin was in the mix, like with this
Yeah, it was cool.
with this renegade group of clones,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
Now you take Anakin out of the equation,
Yeah.
all right, because he's Darth Vader. In the back of Dave Filoni's mind, it would only be poetic justice to maybe bring them back together
With Vader and have them work for the Empire.
and have them work for the Empire.
That'd be cool.
Because one thing that Legends does really well with Vader, and that you do with your fan film as well, is that Vader is still in conflict. You
Right.
know, and like the Force Unleashed did it very well too, right? Like that he's got this secret,
Yeah.
like almost God, what's the right word? This like kind
Secret
of
apprentice.
yeah, he's got like these secrets,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it might
Skeletons
be
in his closet.
yeah, he's got
Yeah.
skeletons in the closet, right?
Yeah.
He's constantly thinking about overthrowing the Emperor. I mean, that's the vibe that I get when you look at Vader's life post Order
Yeah,
66, right?
absolutely.
Like,
He doesn't care, but he never really cared about the Emperor in the first place. He just wanted to save Padme. That was it.
right, that was it.
That was
And
it.
now when he's stuck with this old lunatic,
Yeah.
he's like F this, like I'm,
You remember when he chopped off the hand of Mace Windu and he was like, "I pledge myself to your teachings," and then Sidious was having that freaking weird noise and he was like, but the way Anakin looked at him, like he just looked so disgusted and like, God, I don't want to do this, man. You just see it
right.
on his face. So I would assume that's because George is so meticulous. It just would seem like he would direct Hayden Christensen to look that way. Like you don't want to do this, but this is the way it's gonna go because you have to make a deal with the devil, as he said, to save your wife.
Didn't you do a comic read along of the Scar Squadron? Didn't you dig into that a little bit?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I forget which one of the Vader comics it's in,
I forget
um,
too.
but if you look at their picture, they almost look as exactly like the Bad Batch. You have
Yeah,
like the one big hulking
I just
guy.
know that they've taken a lot of inspiration, or at least it seems like they've taken inspiration from Legends. So
Yeah. Look, and here's another question that like negates that theory a little bit is if they're going to work with Vader, do the clones keep getting older? Because we see Rex is pretty old by the time that Rebels comes around.
yeah,
So like, what happens when they're not, in their prime anymore?
maybe they can do something to age normally.
Right? Or de-age them,
Yeah,
or God
decelerate.
knows. I guess
It's
my
Star Wars,
point.
man. You can go in the world between worlds. You can pull people out of different wormholes, and anything's possible now.
Right, right. My point is, I just like even in Clone Wars that you have Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, Mace, Padme. You have all this incredible character at your disposal. They had to like jump around from like storyline to storyline.
Yeah.
You even had droid ones or youngling ones. Can you really get an entire show with the Bad Batch without having some serious external influence on them of characters that we're a little bit more familiar with? You know what I mean?
The theme I see that's going on with Star Wars is like, okay, so we'll get Rogue One, which is about how the rebellion sort of started, but then you'll get Vader. You'll get tons of the Empire. You get tons of like other things that have to do with the Star Wars galaxy. So it's not just focalized on like, oh, the start of the rebellion with like nothing else. It's like they're gonna cover everything. So I feel like if they're covering Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch, they're gonna be covering everything else that's going on in the galaxy because that affects them. So they're gonna have to go into detail, I think, on Vader, on everything that's happening there, and the Empire and Palpatine. I think it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be really sweet.
So when they say that they have to take on mercenary missions, what does that make you think about? Like, what do you
Mando,
what would you guess as a mercenary mission?
Mando.
Like bounties?
Yeah, bounties. Yeah, kind of like Cara Dune. She was a mercenary, right?
So bounties for the Empire, bounties for like
I think
private huts.
maybe private stuff, like whatever they can get.
Yeah. So so do you think it's going to be exploring a whole bunch of like new planets, new characters, new cartels,
Yeah,
like that kind of stuff, or do you think it's going to
yeah.
still be like, Empire with the sort of the birth of the rebellion type of thing?
I think they're probably gonna reminisce about Order 66 and everything that happened, and we're gonna obviously find out. But I think it's gonna be a whole new thing. I think we're gonna see so many different things we haven't seen, and it'll tie into Vader somehow. I imagine maybe the Inquisitors. I don't know.
God, who's the voice actor that does the clones, man? That guy's going to have his like work cut out
D.
for him, man.
Bradley Baker.
God bless him.
Yeah,
Whoever he is, shout out to D. Bradley Baker, man. I didn't know his name, but
good for him, man. Yeah, he's gonna be.
shout out to him,
He
dude. Like
kills it.
that guy. If you get paid by the word, I mean, that guy is just gonna be like nonstop, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Cause I mean, it's basically like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing all right. I'm
yeah.
doing great. Yeah, let's go, brothers. And it's like the whole day.
The
It's gonna be
cast is gonna be like written and directed by Dave Filoni and George Lucas. Cast D. Bradley Baker.
the.
That's in the special effects crew. That's all.
Oh God. So anyway, man,
And I'm sure it's gonna have Ahsoka in there too. So
you think? See, this is my point, though. Do you think so?
I think it's gonna have Ahsoka in there, and I think the show that they're gonna take after Rebels is also gonna have Ahsoka. So I think we're gonna get two different storylines showing, maybe not focalizing on Ahsoka. Maybe the one after Rebels is gonna focalize on her, and then this one is gonna kind of just like give us a little rundown of like what she's doing, where she's at, what happened to Rex, all this.
Yeah. So,
Where Maul's at. I think all
right.
this could tie into place.
Yeah. I just want the one thing that I just beg Filoni for, and I think we're gonna get it. I really do. Is I really want Vader to be a part of it, and like
I
the
can't see it not. I can't see it
we
not being part of it.
introduced the Bad Batch as a support crew for Anakin Skywalker. I mean, those first four episodes were awesome.
Yeah.
There's a connection there. I hope that Filoni keeps bringing that connection into it as like a subplot or part of the vibe, or that we get to learn a little bit more about Vader in his early Vader days, and that the Bad Batch is just a way to get people at Disney to say, yeah, let's make a Vader animation series without, like, for whatever reason, not wanting to greenlight a Vader animation series.
I think they need a Vader movie series. That's what they need. And so many
Yeah,
people are like, well,
I'm with you.
we've seen Vader, episode 1 to 6.
No
It's like,
way.
no,
No
you
way.
haven't, dude. You really have not. We saw Vader for like 10 seconds in Revenge of the Sith, and then maybe a
Yeah,
whole like what total of like what 10, 15 minutes in the sequels, which was, or sorry, the originals, which was all about Luke, really.
right.
And then in the end,
Vader's
yeah,
Superman, man. Like
yeah,
Vader. Vader can carry anything. I think you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And that Vader that we saw at the end of Clone Wars might be my favorite Vader ever.
Right,
Like,
because it's right after.
yeah, because
It's
he
probably
doesn't
like a
really
year
do.
after.
He doesn't do much, man. But like, and maybe I'm over romanticizing it, but I thought the last scene in Clone Wars was so epic that I want them to dig deeper into that. And look, maybe those clones that are with him, right? Like, they didn't look weird. They all look like standard clones, so forget that. But I do think that there's a thread between the Bad Batch and Anakin that could make a really interesting
You
story.
know what's interesting to me is Morai and Ahsoka. So we know Morai gave her last kind of breath, so to speak, to Ahsoka And every time we see Ahsoka, Morai shows up, the daughter. So it makes me wonder if they did some like essence transfer with Morai, and she went into Ahsoka, and that's why we always see them together, sort of.
Hmm.
There's just some weird connection, like she gave her life force to Ahsoka, so now Ahsoka has this, I don't know, DT kind of power. I don't know. It's just you always see them together, and it's like when Vader grabbed Ahsoka's lightsaber, he looks up, he sees Morai. It's like
Right.
when Vader left the temple, you see Morai. It's like what what are you trying to portray here? What are you trying to link
Yeah.
together?
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, dude, like thinking about it that way, if the Bad Batch has Ahsoka tie-ins, Rex tie-ins,
Maul.
um, Maul, this character that we didn't know much more about, the God, I forgot her name again, Barris. You said it
Oh,
was,
Barasafi. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, Barris Offee.
yeah. What the hell
Um,
happened to her? She's just like in jail
Asajj Ventress is still alive,
at this point. Yeah.
right? At this point, she's still alive.
So is
You know,
Quinlan Voss. Yeah.
Quinlan Voss is still alive. Um, Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yeah.
for Pete's sake, is still alive. So
Yeah.
is
Yoda.
Yoda.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know, man. I think that hopefully they're just saying the Bad Batch is kind of like the vessel, but that they're really going to keep talking about all these characters that we already know and love, and
No
want to
doubt.
see a little bit more elaboration on. You
Yeah.
know?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. There's no way we're just gonna get like what, like 6 episodes or like 8 episodes or like a season or something of like them just sitting around in a chamber or something, or like in a cell being like, yeah, you remember Order 66? Yeah, there was dark times. Yeah, good thing we took our chip out. Yeah. It's like, no, there's way more.
Yeah, good thing we took our thing out. Yeah,
Yeah,
mate. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure thing, yeah. Oh, it's Boba. Okay. Yeah, no, they're gonna do some wicked stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pumped for that, man. Oh, dude, I had something on my mind. Anyway, keep going, keep going. It'll.
We got a whole
Oh,
bunch of super chats, and we'll read them in a little bit, guys.
okay. This is my point. All right, this is my biggest fear. Okay, let's talk about our biggest concerns with the
Your
show. Right?
fear, good.
Do you know that episode of of Mandalorian where Bill Burr is in it,
Hmm.
and they go up to the space station or whatever it is? It
Yeah, it was
feels
like
like
kind of Star Trekky a little bit.
yeah, it feels like an old school Star Trek episode,
Yeah.
and it's like this complete non sequitur. It's a non sequitur episode, in my opinion, right? That's what worries me about the Bad Batch. If it's just these little non sequitur, like mercantile mercenary
To
missions,
show how badass they are.
yeah, to like say,
Okay.
hey, like Jabba's son getting kidnapped all over again type stuff,
Yeah.
Like if it's like every week, it's like, hey, mate, like we just
Yeah.
got a new gig in. It's like it becomes like Inspector Gadget, where like they get a new mission
Right. Yeah. I'm
every
sure there's
week.
gonna be a few of those. I'm sure there's gonna be a few of those. But I actually like that episode. I thought it was cool because you get to see it's like a parallel between Mando and Vader, and with the red and all that stuff, and it shows that he's a hunter, and it shows how badass he is. Yeah, that was cool. But I get what you're saying, that you don't want to see that. You want story, and I want that too.
I want expansion of the Star Wars lore that helps us identify to the philosophy of Star Wars,
Yeah.
which is very well imbued in these existing characters that we already have, like
Right.
Vader
Right.
and Ahsoka now,
Right.
and these people that are in constant conflict of good and evil, right and wrong,
Right.
because that's what ultimately Star Wars is about, right?
It is. Yeah.
Um, and like, yeah, the Bad Batch is cool, but I still felt that the Bad Batch was in complete support of Anakin, in those
Hmm.
first four episodes. There was this one funny moment where I think the big guy Rekka, like, is like eating a hot dog or something and like choking somebody, and there was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like there's some comedic moments
I
in
think
there.
Vader might kill them all. I could see that.
Why is
I
that
don't
funny
know.
to me?
I don't
I
know.
like that. You think Vader could kill
Yeah,
them
he could
all?
kill them all for sure.
All right, here's another question for you. How many seasons do you think it goes?
I think we're gonna get 2 seasons at least. I don't think Disney's gonna
Okay.
sign them on for just one season. Like, we'll see how it goes. It's like, no, you know, Dave probably wrote a story, and he's like, okay, here's 2 seasons, just like they did with the Mando. Before the Mando one was out, it was like, oh, Mando 2 confirmed. It's like, okay, and then I think what Mando
Yeah,
3 is also confirmed now. I'd imagine. So
yeah. So I know somebody. This is complete, and like this is an Easter egg
yeah,
inside the podcast. I know somebody who's working on Mando
okay,
too, and I was talking to
yeah,
him the other day. Okay, I'm not gonna say who it is or how I know him or anything like that, so nobody can
right.
even figure it out. But I was talking to him the other day, and he was talking to me like they're almost finished. Like they've done a lot of work on Mando 2, and I was like, yo, give me something, give me a little something, a little sample, a little taste. He wouldn't give
Yeah,
me anything, but that to me made me feel good. Like, oh man, like Mando 2 is actually like in full on, like development. I don't think they're shooting right now, and I don't know how much they've shot
I
since
think they're
COVID
done.
started, but I think I underestimated how much they had shot
Yeah, they
before
finished, didn't
COVID
they?
started. Oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Hmm.
that. I thought that they were still working on it. Like he made it sound like they were very close to being
Oh, okay.
finished. So, which I thought was really cool because, man, I had tears in my eyes at the end of the season finale of Clone
It
Wars. I
was,
thought it was
yeah,
that good.
it was,
You
yeah,
know, yeah, it was
yeah.
really,
I
really,
did a
really,
watch
really
party
good.
for it, and everyone in the
Uh,
chat was like just very emotional. It was cool.
yeah, yeah, the season finale was great, and that intro with that guy from SNL and the shooting and like the jokes were good, and like Taika really stepped up as a good Star Wars director, and that's probably why they gave him another Star Wars movie
Yeah,
that's coming out. Like, there's like all
I
these
like Taika,
Star
man. I
Wars
think
movies
he's
that are
cool. He's
supposed
very
to be.
laid back, but he makes good stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Taika's good, man. Taika's good. Um, so yeah, man, I'm excited about the Bad Batch. Overall, you
yeah, I'm
excited?
excited. I think it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be dope. I think we're gonna get a lot of tie-ins with everything that we talked about with Vader and Ahsoka and all that stuff. So it's gonna be interesting. We could also see where Caleb Doom is.
Yeah, and like somebody mentioned it in the chat, and I think it's a good point. Um, Star Wars Commando is like one of the most underrated Star Wars video
Yeah,
games
that was
probably ever
cool.
made. Um, and I'll be honest with you and the chat, I've
Okay,
never played it. Okay, I've never played Star Wars Commando, and maybe I'll do that on my gaming channel because I know I've been
it's
playing some
basically
retro games
Halo.
on there. But
It's basically
oh,
Halo,
basically
but
Halo.
Star Wars. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I never played it, but it has a really strong
hmm,
following. And maybe what they did in that show or the proof of that game can translate to Bad Batch in an
yeah.
interesting type of way. But I never
I
played
think I'm
it,
gonna play
so
that on the
I
gaming
don't know.
channel. So all
But
of you here, make sure 1,700 of you, make sure you go to the gaming channel later this evening. Theories Arcade Games. We're gonna play some Commando.
oh shit, I thought I was gonna play.
You were gonna play it?
That's okay.
Well,
No,
you
no,
can
it's
play
all
it
good. No,
too.
no, no. You play. You play. Is it multi? Is
I
it
don't think so. No,
co-op?
man, it's like an old game. It's a
It's like
very
an old
old
school
game. Yeah.
game, right? Yeah, because I think I have it as part of my Star Wars like Steam
Yeah.
ticket or something. I think it's on there, but I've
Yeah.
never played the game. So, but anyway, I think it could be interesting, man. As long as and Dave Filoni is the guy that I
Hmm.
trust with it. If it was anybody else, I could see them doing a commando type show, and that's it, and them going down the rabbit hole and trying to reinvent the brand again. But I think Filoni will try to find how this evolves the brand,
Yeah, he's good at that.
how they push, yeah, how they push the animation
Yeah.
thing forward. Um, so yeah, overall, I'm really stoked. And I can't wait to, 2021, right? So
I'm gonna guess
not that
February.
long away.
I'm gonna guess February.
Um, Somebody's saying that there is multiplayer in
Oh, there
that
is
game.
online. Oh, cool. Didn't know.
I didn't know either.
Mace Windu will lead the Bad Batch post Order 66. That'd be cool. Imagine the Bad Batch show up in the fan film. Cool.
Do you remember that animatic that Dave Filoni released of the Bad Batch in Kashyyyk?
No.
Yeah, so supposedly the Bad Batch was under the command of Jedi Master
Okay.
Luminara, and they went with her to Kashyyyk as part of that final battle. After the battle with Anakin finished, they went with Luminara to
Okay.
Kashyyyk, and Luminara, as we all know, gets murdered in Kashyyyk. Um, or no, does she get murdered or she gets captured? She gets murdered. Yeah, yeah. Luminara gets killed in Kashyyyk. But somehow the Bad Batch, Dave Filoni did an animatic that he released pieces of or talked about. Maybe the chat knows more about this. But the Bad Batch is there fighting alongside some other Wookiees. And maybe that's where the show starts. So I wouldn't be surprised if episode one of the Bad Batch takes place on Kashyyyk with the falling of Luminara and the beginning of Order
Do you think they're gonna
66.
backpedal and go to Order 66, or I don't think they're gonna show it again. That'd be cool if they show it again, but I think they're gonna start where season 7 left off. They could go back. I don't know. That'd be cool.
It's just that he already did this animation that he put out there, And if you remember, the first episode of Clone Wars season 7 was an animation that was on the Disney or not the Disney on the Star Wars site for like a
I just
year
could
and a
see that
half.
being confusing because she's
You know,
dead. So it's like, so so they're gonna go back in time and then they're gonna skip forwards in time again. It's like, so they're gonna have to do a bunch of time jumps for the show then.
yeah, but since my point is though, since there is this existing Dave Filoni animatic of the Bad Batch in Kashyyyk with Luminara, I wouldn't be surprised if that's how the show starts. It's just it's just a
I see it
guess,
starting like a year after Order 66,
Okay.
picking up, throwing us right in there, and they're like on some mercenary mission, and they're just going along on some objective to get paid, and yeah, no,
Yeah. So in storytelling, we call that in medias res, in the middle of things. Like there's something going on and you get thrown
yeah,
in the middle of it, but it's a new context. It's not a continuous context of what
yeah.
we know, um, which is a very, very logical way to think. I just think that because we have this evidence that the first episode of season 7 was an animatic that we saw for years, that the first episode of this new show could be this animatic of the Bad Batch in Kashyyyk, but
Maybe,
maybe
yeah.
not. Who the hell
They could
knows?
probably show
Yeah, yeah,
flashbacks of
but
it,
it could
man.
be. Yeah, yeah, it could
Yeah.
probably show flashbacks of it.
Why waste that animatic
Um,
then?
but to me, it's interesting. Like I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this one notion of do they have the chip or do they not have the chip?
Dude, if they had the
Like to
chip,
me
the
that's
Jedi
a
would all be they'd all be dead. All of them would be extinct. Yoda, freaking, because they'd find where they are. Well, maybe not Yoda, but they'd find where they are, and then they would just, I don't know, take like freaking 50 battalions there and just wipe them all out.
First of all, that sounds like a good storyline to me.
That's actually kind of cool. Yeah, yeah,
Like Star Wars, another big theme in Star Wars is
yeah,
redemption, right? Like what if they do have the friggin' chip? And to your point, what if they were instrumental in taking down and capturing Luminara and in the attack on Kashyyyk, and somehow Echo gets illuminated
yeah,
by Rex, and like that could be
yeah.
fun too, right? Like these guys
We could
like
take
getting
a
that chip
darker,
ripped
yeah,
out
we
of.
could take a darker turn at the start and be like showing how they're actually evil, like from their point of view, which would be pretty
Right.
sweet.
It would be sweet because then you could actually see them, use their powers in like a menacing,
Yeah,
interesting way. And look, one other thing about Clone Wars, man, is that Clone Wars has more murder in it and more violence in it than any other piece of Star Wars lore. Like I like Darth Bane was pretty dark. the first book especially, but the Clone Wars, the body count on the Clone Wars, I'm sure somebody has a YouTube video of all the body counts on Clone Wars. I mean, it's high. So my point is that it's used to being a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
darker. You know what I mean? So it's like I would want that dark tone to continue because season 7 didn't hold back any punches. It was still dark. When Darth Maul is walking down the space
Oh, that
station,
was the
he's
coolest
impaling
shit I've
people
ever
and
seen, man. That was so sick.
right,
Yeah.
cutting people's heads off. He was
Yeah.
being Darth
Yeah.
Maul. So it's like we're Rebels. You can't ignore the fact that Rebels is skews a
Mhm.
little younger, and of course Resistance skews
Mhm.
way younger. Um, but I think Bad Batch is going to continue that sort of more mature bend that
Say
the
like
Clone Wars
Clone Wars
has,
is
or at
like
least
up
I
to
hope
age
it does.
20. Rebels is like in terms of like okay, no, I guess Clone Wars is like PG-13. Well, maybe 14 and up.
Right.
Okay, and then Rebels is
Yeah.
like
14
PG-13,
plus.
and then Resistance is like general. Yeah.
Right. Right. So my point is that I hope it maintains that, like don't shave down the claws of where Clone Wars was
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
build on it. And if they do build on it, dude, I'm gonna be there every friggin' Friday night, or
Thursday. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thursday at midnight, watching that
Yeah. It's gonna be
stuff,
cool.
putting COD to rest, and like, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
definitely excited.
It'll be cool. It'll be sweet. And I think it's just gonna pave the road for what's to come. So, with that said, guys, let's read some super chats. Let's read all your comments, your questions. Make sure to become a join member if you're not already, because the finale for season 1 of Once Upon a Theory is coming out very soon in the next, I would say, several days. I'm hoping so. All you guys who are join members are going to enjoy that. Ryan Wood, thank you for the super chat. The cavalry has returned. What up, Snake? Lionel Messi. I want to see a series about Rex. What about you? I think that yeah, and I think this series could show Rex
I
a lot
think
of him.
I think Rex is going to be a
Yeah.
huge part of this. I think Rex is going to be a huge part of this because again, my favorite moment in that final episode was probably how Ahsoka got Rex
Yeah.
to turn. Like people turning. I mean,
It's very emotional.
God, it's such a beautiful thing about Star Wars that I think we should reflect on for a second. Okay, is that and like, look, I'm going to get a little political here, a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. People have this kind of assumption that if you're one way, that's the only way
Hmm.
you could ever be,
Hmm.
you know? And with Star Wars, one of its big themes are that people, through other people that love them and support them and get them to see the light, can actually change their opinion on things and shift from one side of the spectrum
Right.
to the other, and that change that happens through free will and love and support from the community is such an important
Hmm.
human gift, that we have. And like seeing Rex going from this awesome general who just wanted nothing but blood on his hands, Jedi blood on his hands, to completely shifting around because Ahsoka made him
Right.
see the light and put him in the machine and all that stuff is a beautiful
Right.
part of
I
Star
agree.
Wars. And now seeing Rex saying, "Well, wait a minute, somebody did that for me. Now I have to do that for other people." I could see that being an awesome storyline that they could really throw in there as well, because change is possible. People
Yeah.
can change, and a lot of times they can change for the best, especially if they're inspired by
Right.
people they
And that's
love.
what
You know,
Lucas wanted to
so
show, I think, is that, after Vader did all this stuff, he can change in the end. Yeah.
he can
Yeah.
change. And like, look, he still did some bad stuff, and he paid for that stuff, but like the redemption does feel good. It's like when people were asking about Kylo, is Kylo going to get redeemed? Kylo going to get redeemed? Of course, he was going to get redeemed. Everybody knew he
Yeah.
was going to get redeemed. But there was people that were so hurt over Han Solo's murder that they were like, "I'm out if
Hmm.
Kylo gets redeemed." It's like even the atrocity of killing Han Solo is redeemable if it's
Right.
genuine,
Right.
you know? And like, look, that's a very religious kind of point of view too, right? That's like what Jesus Christ preaches and stuff like that. But anyway, it's powerful. It's powerful in storytelling, is my point. So sorry for that little
Low
tangent
key
there,
wanted a
but
commando type game, but this works. Yeah, maybe we'll get both one day. I love your content, bro. Please keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Craig. Charlie says, "Woo, Theory and Mark return. Love it, Mark. For old times, could we get a Hux voice? Thanks, guys."
the Hux voice, I'll do the Hux voice. You gotta feed me a line though. What's a good line?
Uh, that
The
fast.
fast
Yeah.
order. It even cracks me up. The fast order. It's just like, oh god, it's like a mix between bad constipation and like
Yeah,
ultimate
I know.
anger. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Oh
Good day.
god.
Question: Why is Disney
Anyway,
so reluctant to create media content around Jedi and Sith? Thoughts and concerns, fellas. Thank you, everyone. Very good
very good
question.
question, dude. Thank you.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know either, and I'm hoping that because look, I was worried about that with the Mandalorian. Okay, I was very worried about that with the Mandalorian. But then it took us 2 episodes to see a
I
little
know.
baby Yoda like lifting up
Yeah.
that rhinoceros, and I was like,
Yeah.
thank God, that like that the Force is back. And then the season finale, you have the Moff with the
Yeah.
dark saber. So you're like,
Yeah.
hell yeah! And then you hear that Ahsoka is being cast um, into
Right.
season 2. So Dave Filoni, my point is, Filoni feels that way as well. And you're not going to get him to talk about Star Wars without bringing the Force and the
Yeah.
Jedi into it. So that's why I'm convinced that the Bad Batch is going to have that in there. I mean, like, think about it. It could be a mission like go
Yeah.
find Obi-Wan, and that's why I think it is interesting that their allegiances aren't so cut and dry at the
Yeah.
very beginning. That at the very beginning they could still be in servitude of
Yeah.
the Empire, and then Rex gets to
And then
them.
he's like, "All
You
right,"
know,
because we know that they do talk to each other. Obviously, they're not just like mindless robots at this point, right?
right? Like even in that standoff, which is
Hmm.
a great scene in, in,
Hmm.
in the finale, where they're all standing off and they're like pointing their guns at Rex, and
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
"Come on, brother, stand back, or else we're gonna
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
shoot." And like that stuff is awesome.
You've committed treason to the Empire. The idea for the Bad Batch show arc:
Treason.
Bad Batch became Merc's deserted military versus Delta Squad became Imperial commandos hunting down the Bad Batch. Thoughts? Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I think they took a lot of inspiration from Legends. Um, if they became Imperial commandos, that would be pretty freaking cool. But I could see them pulling from a lot of different storylines. I have a question for you, Theory. Is The Last Jedi the only Star Wars movie you don't like? No, I didn't like. I liked 7, but I didn't like.
Solo.
No, I liked Solo. I didn't like 8.
Oh, you like
I
Solo?
liked 9 because of what we got from 8, but I didn't like 8, so I in my opinion, I think they should just retcon all the sequels and then they should
I'm with you on
remake them.
that, dude.
And it's as simple as that.
Look, and you can maybe even remake them, and that's why I think it's so important that the animation style evolves from the end of season 7 into an even more sophisticated animation for
Yeah.
the Bad Batch. Because I talked about this on Rule of Two years ago. I'd love to see the Thrawn trilogy get the Clone Wars
Yeah, it'd be
animation
cool.
treatment, and you could get Mark Hamill looking like young
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker and have Hamill voice it. With all due respect to Carrie, you can have a Leia that looks like Carrie Fisher, but is maybe her daughter
Yeah.
plays the
Yeah.
voice. You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, they did it with
I do
Tarkin,
think
So,
right, right. I do think that there's a possibility that we will get more Star Wars post Episode 6
mhm.
trilogies um, that are going to be different than what we got with the sequels. I don't believe that they're going to retcon everything like
I don't
everybody's
believe
talking
they will
about. Like I'm
either.
not sure.
Yeah, I don't believe they will either.
But I do think that they could make other things,
Yeah.
and have it be a
Yeah.
little bit different. And who the
Yeah.
hell knows?
No, they were just defective clones. Says never lose your nerd. Wesley Snipes says he has an objective. Xalt says the use of an old EU material, even though it's for a different continuity, is literally the same as the MCU using things from the comics. Yeah, I guess.
I have them on
In
a
co-
rope. What is it? No, no, on a string.
in comics, Scar
What is
Squadron
it?
has alien
Oh,
members.
sorry, go, go.
Right. Okay. I suspect hunting Order 66 survivors. That'd be pretty sweet.
Hold on. Go back to
In the
that. What
comics,
is it with
Scar
Scar
Squadron
Squadron?
had alien members, so they weren't humans like the Bad Batch.
Oh, so you see under their masks?
I guess I'm not familiar with Scar Squadron all that much.
Okay, yeah, yeah. You should look into it. It's
Okay.
really interesting. It's like
I've
this
seen it, but
elite group of
yeah, I haven't really dived in.
stormtroopers.
Maybe they'll hunt Maul. Yeah, shortest credits in Star Wars history: Crimson Dawn series or story arc in Bad Batch. Yeah, that'd be cool. Um, we did see Dryden Voss, if you guys remember. Happy birthday to the OG Han Solo Harrison Ford. Oh, it's his birthday today. Oh, happy
Yeah, it's
birthday,
his birthday
Harrison.
today. Happy birthday.
Indy. Who's Harrison Ford? What? The Bad Batch equals Star Wars version of the A Team. It's true. Hope this $2 helps with the fan films. Thanks, man. Do the hats have youth size? So they're adjustable. So I don't know if it'll go to youth size, but they go pretty small. Randora is a new member. Thank you.
You're talking
Yeah,
about this hat?
Eater Poot. Yeah, it
It
goes
goes
pretty tiny.
small, yeah. It
Eater
goes very
Poot,
small.
thank you
Yeah.
for the super chat. Would you like to see an animated Star Wars What If like they're doing with the MCU? Yeah, that'd be cool.
Um, yeah. There's a show coming out on Disney Plus called What If that's based on a comic book series. I think of
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
name, where it has all these like strange
Right.
permutations. Yeah, I guess I just want to see
Jedi and Sith.
more. Yeah, it's
It's very
so
simple.
simple. It's so simple. It's like that's it.
That's all,
That's
dude.
it.
It's very, very simple. It's a gold mine they're sitting on. Han Solo and Kira should be in the Bad Batch. Okay. Uh,
Should be in the Bad Batch
like in the
or in
show,
the show, just in the
it
show.
would have to take place later.
Yeah, because look, I think if I had to bet, and like we should maybe do um like these are my predictions, just so that we could when the show comes out we could see what
Right.
was right, what was wrong. But I think the show's going to start pretty much. I'm going to say it. I think it's going to start in Kashyyyk during Order 66. So I do think it's going to be like a
That'd
straight
be cool.
continuation of what happens right after
I think it's gonna.
Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah, I
because
think
we
it's
don't
gonna
really
start
know,
after. I think it's gonna. Yeah,
like way after. You think like a
yeah.
year after. See, I don't. I think it's going to start right
I hope
when
it does.
Revenge
I hope you're right.
ends.
For your sake. Uh, will they be Empire or Rogue? I think they're gonna be Rogue, but I'd be down for them to be Empire. Which sabers you guys collect so
Where
far?
I, where I think they're going to start as
Yeah,
Empire. I think they're going to start
yeah.
as Empire, and then Rex will bring them to
Hey,
Rogue.
Theory, huge fan. Love your
But
content.
maybe,
I'm excited for this new series. But all I ask is if we do see Jedi or Sith, we better not get thin lightsabers.
yeah, the thin lightsabers are done, dude. I'm so over that whole
Do you
thin
collect
lightsaber
sabers?
thing. So I do not. I collect sabers in my video games, like in Star Wars Galaxies. I have a bunch of really cool sabers that I make. I craft them in different styles and stuff, but I don't have any physical sabers. Um, I want to get one, but to be honest with you, I wanted the one from Galaxy's Edge because I love the idea that it's got like a little crystal that you pop in and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
they're kind of
But
rough, man. I saw those. Me and
yeah,
Jamie were
but
about to
that
do the workshop thing, and we saw some people holding them, and we're like,
like that inspired me to want to buy a saber. I was like, oh man, that's cool if I can customize my
yeah,
saber and stuff. Um, but I don't have any sabers. I've made a few on my 3D printer that I have in my office. I think maybe you saw my
I
Obi
think I
Wan
did.
Kenobi
Yeah,
one, um, but I never painted it, so it's still just
yeah.
one color. But I did make it in different pieces, so you can like build it and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I want to collect sabers, but I don't.
I just ordered one from Vader's vault, but it's gonna take 6 months.
Oh, that's right. You ordered one
Yeah,
from that place,
yeah.
right?
They're like
It's gonna take eight
6 months
eight
or something.
months.
Yeah, they're like the best in the world, but yeah, they're it takes a while. Can't rush art, so that's all right.
Yeah.
Hey Theory, huge fan. I love your content. I'm excited. Okay, right. Thin lightsabers. I think instead of experimenting on these side projects with no longevity, Lucasfilm needs to stop beating around the bush and give us a whole storyline about Vader between episodes 3 and 4. You can have 6 to 8 seasons with that. Right. I agree. And that's what I'm trying to do.
I I'm 1,000% with that comment. A
hmm
1,000%.
hmm I'm
One
really
hundred.
interested in that time.
Keep it 100.
Yes, I think animated movies on Vader. Oh, you want anime? You want it to be animated? Okay. Do you think the Jedi would still be around if Qui-Gon didn't find Anakin? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably, man. Yeah, because what would Palpatine would just have
I don't
what
know.
Dooku?
Palpatine would have had Dooku. Dooku was tough, dude.
He was
Dooku was
tough,
tough,
but Yoda
and
would
it
have
took
kicked his ass if he really needed to. Yoda and Windu, yeah,
right.
for sure.
Yes, I guess you always say that it's Mace Windu screwed everything up, but maybe it
Maybe it
was
was
Qui Gon, who's one of my favorite
Qui-Gon's
characters. I
my
love
all-time
Qui Gon.
favorite. Yeah.
Anakin, duck.
Drop, Anakin.
Anakin,
No, I don't
no,
like sand,
Anakin,
Qui-Gon.
drop.
Drop, boy, you idiot. Once Upon a Theory finale
There's
available for
something about this
patrons.
boy.
Yeah, so the thing with that is I'll probably have to create 2 separate videos. One for just join members, which is locked, and then I'll have to find like a way to send each patron the video or something like that, just so it doesn't get leaked out. Sorry, I'm poor. No, that's all good, Wesley. Whatever happened to Kix? Did he die on the Venator with Jesse? Who is Kix again?
Jesse. Oh, Jesse. What's up, brother? Dude, first of all, I'm still cracking up about the VO booth. What we're
Nah,
gonna do today? Oh,
I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
It's gonna
What do
be
you
a
want to
special
do?
day.
I don't know. Feeling kind of hungry, yeah. You're all stupid, yeah. What we gonna
That's
do
right,
then?
mate. Oh, it's gonna be great. Oh God, it's
Oh,
gonna be good. I just can't.
just
I
want to see
can't
the
stop
behind the
thinking
scenes
about
of
that.
that. Raw footage revealed.
Hunter,
Yeah, Disney Gallery, Bad Batch.
who's your favorite? Who's your favorite in the Bad Batch?
I
That's my
like I
super
like
chat
Hunter. He's
question.
cool. He's like Rambo. Sly Stallone's my favorite. So
So
yeah,
Hunter's your guy?
I think Wrecker's pretty sweet too.
Okay.
But
Yeah, Rekka
but
was
if we
kind of like
want to
the
be
funny
more
one,
realistic to
right?
like who I am, probably Tech.
Hunter, Tech.
Not really. I don't know, dude.
Crosshair was cool too because he kind of reminded me of that Will
Yeah.
Smith
Yep.
DC character.
Deadshot.
What's
Was
that?
it Deadshot or was it? Yeah.
Deadshot. Yeah. Is
Is
that
it
is
Deadshot? There's. I know
that
there's
his
a
name?
Marvel one
Deadshot.
too. So it's Deadshot or
But that character in Suicide Squad that Will Smith played, I thought
yeah.
was awesome. Uh, God, I forgot his name. I think it is Deadshot, right?
Deadshot
Or
might be the
something
Marvel
like
one.
that. Right. Anyway, I'm sure the
Yeah.
chat will hit us up.
Chat always comes through.
All right,
Hey, Star Wars Theory. I'm writing a
all right,
novel
keep
about the
going.
return of Darth Nihilus return during the Clone Wars and was wondering if I can get your assistance. No, sorry, man. I wish you the best of luck. I'm fully busy with all my projects. I suspect they are reluctant because of how the fans would react to a story written with Disney guidelines. Maybe. Yeah. It's all different now. Um, it's all changed. I want a Star Wars anime where you can actually see the Force powers and just really overly fast fighting like in Dragon Ball Z. That'd be funny. That'd be a little over the top though. All right. Oh, his name was Bloodshot. No, not Bloodshot. It's Deadshot.
That's
Deadshot, and then the other one it was Deathstroke. That's it. I
that's the
think
Marvel one.
Marvel's Deathstroke.
No, no, no. Deathstroke is also DC. Deathstroke's the one that's got like the two colored
Yeah,
mask or
that's him.
something.
Yeah,
He's
that's
like a
Will Smith.
badass.
Oh, Bullseye is Marvel and
Is it?
Deadshot is DC. Okay, so we were right.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, well, I don't know. You guys got any more questions? You don't have anything else to say?
I have them on a string.
When does he say that?
Okay, what was the um?
Oh, wait, there's more super chats. Hold up. Do you think Vader will go after the Bad Batch? Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
I think that that's what in Filoni we trust, and I trust Filoni to understand that he's navigating his own empire, and that there are forces inside Star Wars that it's undeniable that want to do everything they can to destroy the Jedi, the Sith, the Force, and anything that we love about Star Wars. And then there's like a group of people in there that through success, because season seven, like they said, like it almost sounds like they hate saying it, like because of the success of season seven, we're letting this guy do this. But Filoni never strays too far from the Force. I thought Mando was gonna have no Force in it, man, and I was
Hmm.
completely wrong. So I have faith that Filoni is gonna bring a lot of Force and
A
and
lot of
um,
force
and glow
behind it.
sticks.
No pun intended. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Filoni and Favreau, I
yeah,
think, should be the ones helming Lucasfilm. I really do. I really do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, what if Obi-Wan died but Yoda killed Dooku? Attack of the Clones.
Say it
That'd be
again. Say
fan
it again.
fiction. So what if Obi-Wan died but Yoda kills Dooku in Attack of the Clones?
That's interesting. So who finishes
Probably
training
Mace Windu.
Anakin? Mace hates
Yeah.
Anakin though, dude. That would be funny, actually. That's a good fanfic. I like that. That's
Yeah.
a good thought
Yeah, it's
experiment.
fun.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Boom, 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 boom. I can't wait to see Star Wars Rebels new season. Yeah, it'd be cool. Um,
Yeah, we don't know what that's going to be, but there's been a lot of talk that there was going to be an announcement made about a new Rebel show, but that hasn't been announced
yeah.
yet. Did you finish watching it? I know you started to
No,
watch it
I'm on
again.
season 2 now.
Okay.
But you told me season 3 is when it picks up, right?
That's my personal favorite season. I think
Okay.
season three is really cool.
Uh,
Like you genuinely feel the pull to the dark that Ezra
that's
goes
cool.
through.
If Annie and
Yeah.
Padme only had one child instead of twins, would that child be stronger than Luke was? Or you feel like they were split, like Luke's power was split in half? Hmm.
It's an interesting point. It's an interesting point. Shout out to that super chat. That's an
Yeah.
interesting point.
FNAF3. I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think Luke was meant to be ridiculously powerful, and in Legends he was. So, who said that Starkiller was supposed to be basically like the epitome of what Luke was supposed to become in terms of power?
Well, it makes a lot of sense because Star Killer was Luke's
Hmm.
name. Like when they started shooting Star
Yeah.
Wars, they had to actually reshoot a few things because they were still calling him Star Killer.
There's a whole comic about it. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. If Star Wars was a long time ago, do you think what do you think would be happening right now? Also, what if Jedi made it to our? I think what's happening right now is what's happening right now in our time, and then Star Wars happens in the future, but
Right.
it's from the perception of someone looking into the past.
It's the complete destruction of the Jedi
Yeah,
and the
and
Sith. So now we live in a world with no Jedi and no
space
Sith.
Vikings.
That's what
And the reason
space.
I think they that George said, in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, is because it was originally supposed to be from the point of view of the Wills, and they were supposed to be basically watching the events of the Skywalkers, kind of like on a TV almost. Billy Butcher versus Vader, who wins? Vader.
Billy Butcher. I can't wait to see that. I'm a big fan of the boys, and I actually watched the season finale over the weekend
Yeah.
just for fun. Uh,
I
what a
can't wait
cool
till the
show that
second
is,
season.
man.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. I was a
Yeah,
huge fan of the first one.
but
Yeah,
Vader wins.
Vader, of course,
But
wins.
Vader wins.
Um, Homelander. Homelander versus Superman.
Homeland. I think Superman's heart is so good
It would make him weak.
that he's got he's got no, I actually think the opposite. I think that he's got external forces that nobody really truly understands that help him. Where Homelander is just like
One
a
guy. Yeah.
biochemical, yeah, a biochemical experiment with
Yeah.
no soul. Where like Superman's soul is the
Right.
advantage. So I'm gonna go Superman over
That would
Homelander,
be
but
a
it's a
good
good
fight.
fight.
That'd be cool. It'd be like Superman versus Dark Superman.
Yeah,
It's the only difference.
yeah.
Yo, Kale, thanks, man. Well, we're at an hour, so I don't have anything else to say
That was
about
good.
Bad Batch. I think it's gonna be a cool show.
Yeah, man, it felt good to be back. I hope the chat
Yeah, you
enjoyed
guys
the
happy we're
show.
back? We
And
took a break last week. Do you want us back for next week? Doesn't matter
crickets.
what you say. We're coming back. Big fan. During episode 2, Tuscan Slaughter, you said, "Why can't they do what they did in the books?" The reason is you can create any story in the book, so you have free range of storytelling. Right. But the films, you have to write and shoot a script that will look realistic on screen. That's why they have more freedom in animation as well. That's why I only consider the novels as partial canon. I see where you're coming from. I can respect that. That makes sense. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, so what you're saying is like when they're writing stuff, they can pretty much write anything because it's all from the fabrication of your mind and imagination. Whereas in the films, it's much harder and they're on time constraints and stuff like that, right? So, okay, I see that. I still would have liked to have seen some of the cool things from the books in the movies. I think that would have been pretty sweet, but nah, I get that. Do you believe in Grey Jedi? I do, yeah. What the heck was Qui
I
Gon?
do.
Even though I know Freddie Prinze Jr. wants to argue and bash the heads of the fans if they say that the Grey Jedi exists, but I think they do exist.
I believe that a Jedi can actually transition from Jedi to Sith, as we know they can, and I do believe that there's a period in time where they are. In that transition doesn't happen in 1 second. It's a
Yeah,
gradual transition. Um, so yeah, man. Of course, I
yeah,
believe in Grey
100%.
Jedi, and one thing about Mace, right, is that he's supposed to tap into both.
He taps
Like
into the
that
dark
was a
quite a
big
bit,
part of what gave him strength.
and that's why he created.
Yeah,
He says in the book, he's like, I created Vapod to channel my own darkness. It's like, what the?
yeah,
So he chooses to be light, but he knows he has that dark side energy, so that's why he's created that form, which is pretty sweet,
yeah.
pretty cool. And then it's like, what's Ahsoka? I think she's gray. She's not a Jedi, but she's a rogue Jedi. She's in between. Then what's Qui Gon? He manipulates the chance cube. What if the Force didn't want that freaking deal to go out the way Qui Gon wanted it to? You know, what if it rolled a different color? And it's like Qui Gon manipulated it. He definitely took the Force into his own hands there. But I guess you could say like, well,
Yeah.
the Force put me in touch with Anakin, so I got to take matters in my own hands from this point on. Blah blah blah. Anyways, yeah,
The limited dogmatic view of the
yeah.
Jedi. What is it that he says?
Narrow-minded, dogmatic view of the Jedi. Something like that. Yeah,
Of the
yeah.
All right. All
All right,
right,
Chad.
guys. Well,
Thank you for
thank you
joining.
all.
Hope you enjoyed the podcast. We'll see you next week. Love you all. See you on the gaming channel, and of course, Mark's gaming channel too. Mark, you want to shout it out?
Yeah, just Collider Games. I haven't been on there in a while. I've been very busy doing a bunch of other stuff, but um, I'll probably be back on at some point. But we had a big interview with the voice actor of The Last of Us that is up to like 80,000 views now.
On
So there's been some
Collider
cool
Games.
stuff
Oh, dope.
on
Okay,
Collider Games.
I
Yeah,
gotta check it out.
yeah. We had Rufio on there the other day. From Hook. Have you ever
The
seen
movie?
Hook?
Yeah. Yeah, Rufio. Yeah.
Yeah. We
Okay.
had Rufio. Yeah. We had
Cool.
Rufio on the gaming channel. So yeah, check us out at the gaming channel. But look, I'll maybe I can get Theory to play some COD again, or one of these days we'll get him to play Star
Right.
Wars Galaxies.
All right, guys. Love you all. Thanks for joining. Do you think the Bad Batch versus Inquisitors would happen? Oh, yes, it would. Make a fanfic about Bad
It
Batch
would.
versus Inquisitors. That'd be pretty sweet.
I think that character, Barris,
Barris
whatever her
Offee, you
name
think she's
is,
an Inquisitor?
she might show
Yeah.
up as an Inquisitor.
Make a fanfic about that. Obi-Wan and Dooku die. Sounds cool. Okay. I'd be down with that. I gotta bring fan fictions back anyways. See you guys. Love you all. Rise, my friends.
My boy.